Let me ask you what the Daily Mail is reporting. It says more evidence COVID was tinkered with in a lab. Now scientists find the virus contains a tiny chunk of DNA that matches sequence patented by Moderna 3 years before the pandemic began. Your reaction, Stefan. What can you tell us?
So my scientists are looking into those data to see how accurate they are or not. As I've said before, the hypothesis of an escape from a lab by an accident is possible. Human makes mistakes. So is it possible that the Wuhan lab in China was working on viruses enhancement or gene modification, and then there was an accident where somebody was infected in the lab and then infected their families and friends? It is possible. On the claim you just mentioned, the scientists are analyzing to know if it's real or not.
Yeah, I mean, I was struck by the line, it matched a genetic sequence patented by Moderna for cancer research purposes, Stefan.
Yeah, and that's the type of things that the team is looking at very carefully to know is it real or not. Okay. So it takes a bit of time to analyze all the genetic sequence.
So I sent a request to EMA, which stands for European Medicines Agency, which is the equivalent of FDA in the US, to tell me, among other things, what is the date when all of these vaccine companies started the studies in animals and they submitted the studies to EMA in order to receive authorizations. And this is exactly, the answer that I received is from 2021. So let me show you the tests submitted by Moderna. So here you can see the date when these tests started. Now here's
2020, 2020, but then 2017, 2016, 2017.
Exactly. Now let me tell you something. The world found out about this virus in December of 2019. So the assumption is that you have a virus and then you start building a vaccine against that virus, right? So I'm just asking, I'm not accusing anybody. How is it possible? I mean, this is an official answer from a European institution. How is it possible for Moderna to submit studies in order to receive authorization for their vaccine, and these studies were conducted years before we found out about the virus? Let me show you something else about Pfizer. Pfizer, for example, these are the tests submitted by Pfizer. So Pfizer started the first test on January the 14th, 2020. The interesting thing is we found out the DNA sequence of the virus on January the 11th, 2020, because someone from China released it to the public. So I'm just asking, how is it possible that in 3 days a company would develop a vaccine and start the testing of it? I'm just asking, I'm not accusing, I'm not saying anything. Let me ask you something else, or show you something else. One of the things that I asked this European agency was to tell me when the tests on humans started. And this is the date.
Wow.
So 2 months after they kind of created the vaccine, they already started the test in humans. But here's something interesting. Usually when you do tests like this, you do the test and then you have to see if the vaccine is working. In other words, if the vaccine is stopping the spread of the virus and if the vaccine is providing you immunity, because otherwise that medical product cannot be labeled as a vaccine if it's not producing both of these things. So I asked this medical agency to tell me the following. If people who were part of these tests were ever exposed to the virus after they were injected with the vaccine. And this is what they told me. Check this out, and I highlighted it. So what they're actually saying is, when they conducted the test in humans, and look at the dates again here, the whole world was in lockdown. So they gathered these subjects, they injected the subjects, and then they had to stay for 3 months, right? In the lockdown. They were not able to communicate with each other. So after 3 months, they tested them again to see if they had COVID, and that's the reason why they said that these vaccines are so-called 99% effective. And so we see right now how effective they are, because they are not stopping the transmission of the virus, and they are clearly not providing immunity. So this is how
they're killing people at the same time.
On top of it. So this is how they play with the whole world. This is the answer.
So they had the vaccines prior to the virus even being released.
That's what the
apparently,
data
from their
show.
own data.
From their own data. That's what they show.
Wow.
A mysterious respiratory illness has hit a second assisted living facility in Fairfax County. The county health department says 25 people have gotten sick at the Heatherwood retirement community in Burke. Now, no one there has died, and health officials say there is no direct link to the mystery illness that is causing people to get sick both at Green Spring nursing home facility in Springfield, where 3 people died. 63 people were sick there. 19 employees have reported symptoms, too.